America is collapsing before our very eyes. Restaurants are closing their doors for good in my city at a record pace. They're blaming it on a slow season, but I think it's something else. You can't tell me the amount of abandoned strip malls that I drive by on a daily basis is normal. I know you've seen it too. All these places just get replaced with the capybara cafe de jour or a flower store to placate the masses, if you know what I mean. There used to be 24-hour diners, family-owned restaurants, even bookstores, I don't know, third spaces. Now, nothing. Luxury apartments that sit vacant forever. Grocery stores that have been closed for 10 years. So much wasted space in empty parking lots until some TikTok trend comes, opens for 6 months, and then that closes too. I know I'm not alone in this, but yet every single time I bring it up, I get all the bots in my comments telling me the economy's never been better. But I ask for who? Like 100 people at the top? So the billionaires are doing great. I don't care. People like you and me, we're struggling out here. All my friends live in vans. And if we are lucky enough to have apartments or houses, we're living behind locked doors and closed blinds because there's no community here anymore. Restaurants are just the beginning. They're the canary in the coal mine. Once they're gone, so are all of our meeting places, our birthday parties, our community, and third spaces. They're not just a place to buy food. They're a pulse of the neighborhood. And also, as a live singer, something hugely important to my job. I used to sing 5 nights a week. Now I'm lucky if I can find a Sunday night gig. So I'm just here to say, if this is what a booming economy sounds like, it must be the sound of doors slamming shut. And I don't know about you, but I'm making my exit plan. We're moving to Portugal soon, where they still have cafes and restaurants that people actually go to. If you find that interesting, stick around. Because I can tell you this is not normal. And don't let internet comments gaslight you into thinking it is.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So let's take a look at rural MAGA states right now, because honestly, America is crumbling, right? And what is wild is that these are the same states that voted hardest for Trump. And now they're the ones suffering the most, right? Anyways, credit to the original creators. Let's watch and we'll be back with some commentary.
I live in rural Arkansas. And if you don't understand why people in rural Arkansas or rural America vote Republican, it's because of fear and jealousy. Jealousy that somebody has it better than they do, that they work their asses off, and most of them do. More education, because the education here is at the bottom of the tier. Maternal mortality, low. Education, low. Quality of living, low. Infrastructure, super low. There's no industry. There's no hope for these young kids in rural Arkansas to have a job. We had a chance to vote Chris Jones, an actual rocket scientist like myself who was educated and had a plan to bring jobs and infrastructure to Arkansas. But the people I talked to in rural Arkansas will not vote for him because of his color of his skin. And they weren't nice when they described the color of his skin. So they voted for a sycophant, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who is treating this like her personal money bank. There is no infrastructure here. The roads are shit. You can drive 2 hours. So my closest grocery store, besides Walmart, is 2 hours away. So if I go that 2 hours to go to that grocery store, the roads I have to take are barely have enough room for 2 people to pass each other. There is no cell phone coverage for over an hour and a half of that ride. And there's no hope to get those roads fixed anytime soon because there's no money. I say that, but lo and behold, what did Sarah do as of July of 2025? She has loaned and bought $55 million worth of Israeli bonds. So she's loaned Israel $55 million with a catch to give them 100 more million by the end of the year. When her people are fucking starving, they have no medical care. Hell, most teenage girls here are living at home pregnant with their moms. And they're living at home with their moms and their boyfriends. Because that's how rural America lives. There's nothing for these kids to look forward to. So why would they ever vote Republican? Because that's what they're told to do. $150 million would go a long way to feed, get medical attention, and up so that our children here in Arkansas don't die in infancy and the mothers don't die in childbirth. And that is rural America. Fuck Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She is the worst governor at, okay, she's second. Our neighbor Texas Abbott is worse, but she's a close second.
I've been a proud rural American my entire life. But the truth is, in rural America, poverty is higher, wages are lower, and jobs are far and few between. And here's another cold hard fact. Beginning with the New Deal, continuing through to the Great Society, and ending just recently with the President's infrastructure bill, the Democrats in both rural and urban America have fought to provide a social safety net that's much needed in rural America while offering targeted incentives to help rural America grow. And our question is, when are conservatives in rural America going to join us in the fight? Hi guys, my name's Will, your favorite rural campaign and elections expert, and let's talk about it. Here are some hard facts we have to come to terms with in rural America. Nearly 75% of the poor living in rural America come from southern Republican states. Both poverty and our dependence on the social safety net is higher in rural America than it is in our cities and suburbs. In every section of America,
at the grocery store with my kids, right? And we go to get cinnamon sugar because it's cheaper than toaster strudels. Cinnamon sugar. There's like these two retirees like really upset about the prices, realizing that they're not gonna have enough money to like make it to the end of the month or whatever. Guy ends up looking at me and he's like, "This isn't what we voted for, is it?" And I'm just like, "No, it's sure not. No, I didn't vote for this. I voted so that you wouldn't struggle. You voted so that me and my kids would struggle." So there's like a part of me that like feels bad because they're elderly people that are like definitely going through it. I'm going through it too as a single mom with 2 fucking kids. And it's like painfully obvious because each week I have to keep on being like, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. We can't afford that. And like, it's got to the point that when my son asks me for stuff now, he says, "Mom, when we get money, can we get?" It's like, fuck. While I do have like a little bit of sympathy, at the end of the day, like I have a burning anger as well because the world was not like as catastrophically bad as they've made it out to seem. Like they created this whole situation and now they're crying when it rains. It's like, fuck y'all.
Hey little rural MAGA towns, this one's for you. You know how you didn't want to have the high-speed internet because you thought it would bring too much impact into the community, probably give too much knowledge to the kids, and they'd be able to game so fast they'd never ever come to church again, right? So you wouldn't do that. And then you didn't want to expand businesses into the community from outside because you were worried about some city slicker coming in and taking over your land and taking over your little hometown politics and a whole bunch of bullshit nobody really cares about. And see, now the city slicker that you've always worried about coming in and taking your land and taking all your jobs, you voted him into presidency twice, and now he's really gonna come take your land, and he's gonna promise you jobs, but what he's gonna bring to you are big data centers, and he might build some factories, and some people will get jobs, but guess what? They're gonna train AI to work those jobs, so 150 people might start to train 3,000 robots. And then those same factories that are buying or setting up those businesses in your area, they're going to buy the land up underneath the businesses. So when their business goes bankrupt or doesn't work out, guess what? They still own the land in your town, so they can just build whatever else they want to do or just do whatever else they want to do. And those big data centers, all that AI, it's going to mess up all your water sources. Your air, it's going to smell weird inside your house. Like, you're not going to be able to breathe. There's going to be just contamination everywhere. For what? For what? It won't bring the jobs that you were promised. But it's going to suck up all your resources and fuck those up. So, I grew up near the Talladega National Forest. I bet y'all be getting a data center before long over there. And then your hospital's going to go out of business soon. Soon. And you know, Obama just expanded it in 2008, and that's how y'all had all those good health care jobs. That's why everybody's got a nice little nurse or CNA or radiology job, because they expanded the hospital. But now there won't be any funding from the hospital because of the cuts to Medicaid. And you'll be forced to go again, to drive an hour and a half to your job every day. And your resources where you live are going to be terrible. Your fishing and your hunting, it won't be good anymore. As they cut all your trees down, as they sell your land off acre by acre, your air, your quality of your air and your water and your land for generations to come will be ruined. And this is what you voted for. And guess what? That city slicker that you've always been worried about, you voted for it. You voted for them to come in and take your town and sell all your land. I hope you get what you asked for. You're going to be just as poor if you're still alive. Because they want us dead. They don't care about any of us.
Hey there, MAGA. I'm just a random redneck who owns a full-time farm in rural North Carolina, and although I may have a little extra wriggle in my Wranglers and sparkle in my spurs, I'm otherwise just your average fruit who grows your vegetables. You're more likely to see me at a dirt track race than watching drag race, and unlike the president or cat-eyed VP, the closest thing I've ever come to wearing makeup is tinted sunscreen. In other words, I'm one of those privileged, palatable Ujfe acropes who you can tolerate and sometimes even celebrate as you confabulate to your congregations about how you're such a kind-hearted Christian that you even have a fruity friend. God bless his sassy soul-age soul. I'd say shame on you, but anybody who still supports Trump is beyond shame. Every time I've assumed your party has reached the very bottom of the moral abyss, I'm wrong. The only bottoms I've seen in your party are your husbands, pastors, and politicians on Grindr. If Trump was the one who lit Rome on fire, you'd thank him for giving you warmth as you watched your city burn. You'd roast marshmallows on the embers of your own home and thank Trump for the campfire before ever thinking of accusing him of arson. No person I'm aware of has broken the second great commandment to love our neighbor as much as Trump and his followers have. Your group's decided to live the exact opposite of the counsel of Matthew 25. For people were hungry and you took away their food stamps and burnt food meant for starving children. They were strangers and you deported them. They were sick and you cut their Medicaid. If Moses himself rebuked you for worshiping your golden idol, you'd call his 10 Commandments fake news and mock his stutter. For 10 years, I've watched as you sold your values for a man who traded women like Southern folk trade banana pudding recipes at a church picnic. The people around him end up indicted or disgraced, and very few of them have lasted longer in his circle of jerks than Jojo Siwa even lasted as a taco tickler. You've traded due process for Donald's grievances, kindness for clanship, and morals for MAGA. You see immigrants as the least among us, and have somehow forgotten that verse that says that how you treat the least is how you would treat Christ. I don't ever want to hear a Christian speculate again about how somebody could possibly crucify Christ when every day they betray his teachings in the name of a false, ephemeral, and feckless idol who paints himself gold. I've tried giving it to you straight, but now I'm going to give it to you gay. Your values are as prolapsed as a party bottom's backside, and it's time to think about how that happened and how to fix it. Have a blessed day.
I think one of the reasons why so many rural people voted MAGA is if you come to a small town, which my family is largely from, you see it's generations of people who haven't done anything with themselves other than be exactly where they are. So they come for entire people, groups of people, ethnicities of people who have done everything they can to be somewhere else. I would probably be a little bitter and jealous too. And I taught my son this weekend, look around you. You'll be able to pick it out. And if they're going to be so good at picking people out and isolating others, you can turn the energy around. And it's crazy that so many people who would be so against so many things, who would probably benefit from some kind of dental care at least, would be so blind and ignorant to whether or not they would be able to get it or other people could as well.
Schools underfunded, hospitals closing, farms disappearing, people barely hanging on. Meanwhile, the politicians they supported are too busy protecting billionaires to care about the everyday person in rural America. And I'm not saying this to mock poverty, pain, losing your way of life. That is serious, right? But it's a reality check, right? Leadership matters. You can't keep voting against your own interests and expecting different results, right? The American dream is sleeping, and rural states are the canary in the coal mine. If they're falling apart, the whole country is in trouble. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and remember, this is for commentary and opinion only. I'll see you on my next one.